What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey everybody, it's a My Day Monday.
It's a My Day Monday.
My Day Monday. It's a My Day Monday. You know what it is. We're back at it again.
All right, guys. There it is. We're back at it again. Okay, cool. So quickly, I'm gonna switch over to the other video. And then we're gonna quickly review that video. Let's just make sure that everything is on point here. Obviously don't want to. Okay, cool. Try to get the computer sound out of that. All right, cool. So this is a video that I saw this morning. I quickly want us to have a look at it.
We have education systems that we don't own. We have curriculums that we never wrote. We have political parties that don't service our own interest as people. We have passports. They don't give us access to other countries. They have access to our countries. We don't have access into their own countries. And that's supposed to be democracy. They have embassies in our own countries, and yet they put the same countries in sanctions. What sort of a system are we talking about if we are to be addressing the issues of African democracy? African democracy is a crippled child who is sitting on a wheelchair, a paraplegic wheelchair. In as much as our countries are claimed to be democratic, they are not free at all. Our economies are ruled by the West. Our education is ruled by the West. Our medicine is given by the West. Our diseases are managed by the West. Our populations are managed by the West. Our technologies are imposed on us by the West. So which part of us can you say is democracy? The same countries, they sponsor a government, they sponsor a surrogate government, the government gets into power. After they're in power, then you put the same government in sanctions again. What do they want from us? These colonizers, what do they want from us? You wanted our gold, we took it. You wanted diamonds, you took it. You want our children and our body parts? You're harvesting. Africa is a harvesting ground of livers and kidneys and hearts. What do you want from us as a people? You took our art. You took our kings. Destroyed our civilization. Up to now, 400 years later, the colonizer is still watching to see how much more he can get away and harvest and pull and rape and take away from the African people. And all this comes under a big umbrella. Africa is going to become a democratic state. But in the midst of democracy, what democracy has been able to do more than anything else, it is to solidify the borders of segregation between nations. The border between Zimbabwe and South Africa, put more fences, put more dogs. The border between Zimbabwe and Mozambique, put more fences, put more dogs. The border between Zimbabwe and Zambia, put more fences, put more dogs. Botswana and Zambia, put more fence, put more dogs. And all these African countries walk around each other in funny little ties, flying around the countries, sitting around United Nations, Africa Union, and we are discussing issues of democracy. The first idea when Africa wants to discuss democracy is how do we restore the African dignity by destroying the borders that separate the African children. My grandmother is Shangaan, Mozambique, on my father's side. My grandmother is Venda, on my mother's side. My father is Karanga, and my grandfather on my mother's side is Ndebele. So how can you put a border and a passport for me, that for me to go and see my grandmother's houses in Mozambique, I need a passport. To go and see my grandmother in South Africa, I need a passport. I must go to Pretoria first, go to Harare. I can cross the river, the Limpopo River. And this is the form of the democratic Africa that our leaders are constipated with. I'll spill the beans as loud as clear. African democracy identifies a few educated, patriotic Africans who become political parties. And they talk in cahoots with the funders, the colonizers. They walk into power not to help the African people, but to look after themselves and maintain the system for the colonizer. Insurance companies are in the hands of the colonizer. The banks are in the hands of the colonizer. Manufacturing industries are in the hands of the colonizers. The pharmaceuticals are in the hands of the colonizers. Medicine, clothing in the hands of the colonizers. Technology in the hands of the colonizers. You'll be shocked to discover we are still slaves and servants working for the colonial system. Take note, I'm not insulting any political party, but I want to insult their insensitivity that they walk around and campaign. I'm saying this from Nigeria to Uganda to Kenya to Ghana to Zimbabwe to South Africa to Botswana, anywhere in Africa. Tell me one political leader who has made an intentional business of improving and establishing factories for his own people. Sit around approving business budgets for what?
Budgets for who?
Just take that money, open industries. Take that money, open up mines. Take that money, open up agricultural farms. Have food for your people, employment for your people. How complicated can that be? The model to follow is Dubai. Look at Emirates. They have nothing. All national fund. Use the national fund to make Dubai a capital city of industry for the whole world. Here we are in Africa. We have cocoa, we have bananas, we have coal, we have platinum, we have diamonds, we have oil, we have weather, we have tourism, we have everything. But in the midst of all these resources, our African people are still languishing in poverty. Can I ask you, the intelligent ones, what is the problem of Africa? What is the problem? We have the resources, we have the universities, we have the education, we have the skills. What is the problem? The problem is we are trained to maintain a system that does not benefit us. We go to school to learn to maintain that system. We train our children to look after the system. Our political system has no will at all to empower the local people. It has no will. There's no political party that wants to remove bread from the mouth of the white man. That's a fact. Because all these political leaders are eating with the colonizer. So how can you destabilize a system that is giving you food? So it's the typical state where Uncle Tom kind of boys who now are being told, you are not like them. You are a better black than them. Please, you can eat here. You can sign here. You can own this also and that. And before you notice it, 5 years, 10 years later, our political leaders have just become rubber stamps in government for pushing a European colonized agenda. I'm still looking for a country that will take its own resources and improve its own infrastructure. I challenge all the African political heads across Africa. Go to Dubai, not to shop. Go and study. Go and study how a place that has nothing has been able to change its course from a desert to a capital city of shopping in the world. Go there and study. It does not.
Whew. That was deep. That was deep. That was deep. It's the third time I'm watching this video and it hits just as hard. My Facebook page, I haven't put together my Facebook page yet. It's up, but there's no content on there. But on Facebook, my name is Edward McClone. You can add me as a friend there. Sounds like PH Jam. Like mixing it cool. My day and Monday. Let's go. Yo, Vic. What's up, brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, I mean, I was just reading through the chats and welcome guys. It's a My Day Monday. You know what it is. We're back at it again. And I just want to quickly, to those that just joined, let you know what we're talking about today. So we all know it's Freedom Day today. But I want us to speak about what Freedom Day will be in the future for us. What do we see it to be versus what it is today? To me, Freedom Day right now, as we speak, is a day I'm sitting in bed, doing nothing. and just eating, you know, maybe putting in a bit of work there and there. Chief, you all know. But it needs to be something different because it doesn't resonate with me, mainly because I feel like we're still not free, in accordance to what that video was just saying. I forget the narrator's name. I'll try and get his name and then I'll add it to the description later on, and I'll also add the link to the video in the description once we're done here. Now, I'd really love to hear from you guys what you thought about the video, what you thought about what he had spoken about, and what you guys think of Freedom Day today, right? I'd love to hear that in the chat. My thinking, as I'm looking and listening to that video, I took down some notes, my book over here, and some of the pointers were basically borders in our own motherland, and how African democracy, instead of helping us become better, instead keeps us apart from one another. It keeps those borders up, it keeps us segregated, and it keeps us weak because we cannot unite because of those borders. Now, you guys might all know my purpose by now, but it's basically to build a business big enough to span the African continent in the efforts to bring the continent together so that it can compete on a global scale. So that part of together talks to the borders that we have between the different countries on the African continent. And if part of my purpose means figuring out how we can bring down those borders per country so that we can trade with one another without having to go through borders, rubber stamping, passports, and paying customs and whatever the likes may be, we need to figure out how we can do that, right? And yeah, the fact that African democracy, which is something we fought so dearly for, and what we have today is political freedom, I feel it has helped us realize that we are not free more than anything else. But the problem is, it took us just under 26 years to understand that we are not free. So what have we been thinking this whole time? Why are we celebrating something whereas we all feel and believe that we are not free? Why are we celebrating Freedom Day? Why does Freedom Day exist if we are not free? Yes, I understand that situations were terrible back in the day. My father was telling me earlier, last week actually, that in Valcom back in the day, they would ask you for, actually you weren't allowed to stay in a different house than what you were registered to stay in. So for example, if you, Chifiwa, came and visited me and decided that you were going to stay the night, and the cops came that night, they would ask us for a pass or something like that. And that pass would basically have the list of people that stay in that household. And if you didn't stay in that household and your name wasn't there, but you were in the house, then you'd get beaten and arrested, right? So obviously that type of freedom has come, and we have realized it, and we have started to enjoy it to a massive degree. I don't dispute that, right? But we need a total emancipation, total freedom in one way or the other. Now, let's maybe just continue with the notes that I have before I just keep blabbing. He also speaks about the West ruling everything, the West ruling industry, ruling technology, pharmaceuticals, and everything, right? How do we expect to free ourselves if we can't do anything for ourselves? Which comes to a point I've been trying to figure out how we'll integrate to the My Day Mondays, but one that really says that it is important that we figure out how to sustain ourselves. And Butle, I think you said back home you guys have chickens, and I don't know if you did say you had planted the last time we spoke and you had a farm or anything, but that is part of how we can sustain ourselves, right? Sustaining ourselves. For example, the veggies that we eat in my father's place, those all come from the back garden. We have so much veggies that it's too much for us to eat on our own. We have to give it away, otherwise everything's going to spoil. There's actually tomatoes on the fridge right now in 2 boxes. It's way too much. I think my father took 3 or 4. He cooked them tonight for us to have supper. There's still so much. We have to give it away. And that's like it's not even a big garden. I'll figure out how I can share. I'll probably share it on Facebook. Pictures of the garden, pictures of the tomatoes, the potatoes, the spinach, and so on and so forth. So self-sustainability becomes an important thing. And now that we understand that when it comes to food security in the era of COVID-19, it becomes more important for us to understand how we can supply our own foods from a chicken perspective, from a protein perspective, from a vegetables perspective, and so on and so forth, right? So the fact that the West is ruling everything is the reason we can't do things ourselves. We need to get away from people doing things for us and start doing it for ourselves, right? America, for example, gave a lot of work to the Chinese, and now the Chinese are on the verge of ruling the world. Of course, the Americans aren't happy about that, but as a prime example as to why we need to take care of ourselves. And then he says, oh man, I can't read my own writing here. I'm going to skip that one. Oh, okay. This is another quote that I got from another video, which is also on my Facebook page. Just have a look there. He says, let a sleeping dog lay. Allow it to lay, right? Now, in this video, this guy says, we are the sleeping dogs of the world as Africans, right? And the fact that we are the sleeping dogs, they are actually allowing us to lay and to sleep and to be comfortable in the situation that we are in, right? And we need to figure out, where is it that we're really sleeping on ourselves? Where is it that we're really not pushing ourselves to the point that we know we are great at, you know? Once we can identify those parts in our lives, we can start to figure out how we can start ramping up in that front and start to become dogs that are alive. Maybe not even dogs, lions that are alive, you know? This video actually hit the spot because it made me realize that we are still not free. We are basically still slaves of a white man's system. Exactly, right? And that's the point. That's the point of that video. I think he says in another video that if your hopes have been crushed because of this video of the African dream, then good. That's exactly what he's trying to do. And the reason he's trying to do that is so that you can take that pain, take that sorrow and that feeling where you feel sorry for yourself and use it to push yourself and to gain something that is much greater than what you have today. We're sleeping on ourselves, man. We're sleeping on ourselves. And when we don't sleep on ourselves and we wake up and we actually start to achieve our potential and we make a little bit of money, guess what we do? We give it to the Germans in the form of buying a Mercedes-Benz, buying a BMW, buying a VW. We give it away again. I don't know, man. I don't know. We just, you know. So I feel like it's one of those situations where your mind is ahead, but your body is still behind type of thing. You know, we're thinking ahead, we think in the right place. But when we try to implement backwards, it's like, my goodness, we don't even have a car that we manufacture for ourselves. How do I expect to make R1 million and then buy a car, for an African car or a South African car? You know, so it's kind of, we're lagging behind, but we're also thinking well ahead. The other time I was like, okay, cool. The internet is a great place to sell something. It's a great place to give content to people. Cool. Because it's a great place to give content to people, that's the place I should be. So I go there and I give my content over there. And then I wondered to myself the one time, I'm like, but people from my hometown aren't supporting me. Why is that? And then I went and I did a bit of research and I figured out that these guys actually don't have the means to watch an hour-long YouTube channel video of me blabbing about how we're not reaching our best. They don't have those means. Data is something that some of us take for granted. I mean, I have to buy 10 gigs of data to supplement My Day Monday, Future Legends Live, my, what's her name? Obviously, my social media habits and my music. You know, 10 gigs of data, which I'm probably buying at $200 a week. I mean, who the hell is going to buy that lives kokasi, doesn't even have a job, cutting grass and so on and so forth, and $200 is what he sees in a month? How do I expect them to buy data? So now, How do I expect them to buy data so that they can be online to watch my video? I can't expect them to do that. But why is everything so difficult for them? Because it's owned by the West, and the West are all profit. So I said to myself, fine, if I can't sell or be on the internet for my people because of the infrastructure that doesn't allow them, I need to figure out how to lay the infrastructure first for my people. Make it cheap and easy for them to be able to get onto the internet. Once they're on the internet, then I can meet them on the other end and say, hey, by the way, I've been selling all the stuff on the internet. Do you want some? You know what I'm trying to say? So we need to start with the infrastructure. We need to start laying it down. You build a car now, you spend 100 million rand getting a car that anybody and everybody can drive. You build it, you design it, you get the best engineers in Africa, everything. You get it right, 100 million rand, bah. Then the first time you do a test drive, you hit a pothole. It breaks other parts that you weren't expecting. 2 million rand gone down the drain again. You are 6 months behind because you try to test drive that thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? So we need to build the infrastructure first. Okay, cool. So in doing so, by the way, let's not be sleeping dogs. Be lions that are awake and that believe and understand their fire from within. Democracy has solidified borders, he says. African democracy its purpose is to solidify the borders amongst African countries. Why don't we get rid of that nonsense? Why don't we get rid of that nonsense? We don't get rid of that nonsense because, as he says, African leaders are enjoying the benefits of African democracy, even though it doesn't serve all of us right. Ubuntu, on the other hand, is something that would serve us very well. We survived with Ubuntu through racism. The reason we survived is because we were together. And because we were together, we could conquer time and time and time again. And now that we are not together, we are being conquered in multiple different places. And we don't even see it. So how can we take this concept of Ubuntu and structure it in such a way that it could be applied in a social setting, it can be applied in a political setting, it can be applied in economic Ubuntu, economically, and so on and so forth, right? That's my thinking. That's where my head is at. How do we build our own system of running not just our country but our continent that will benefit its people, right? If you look at how politics is running, it's supposed to be an Ubuntu type system, but capitalism has taken it over. Capitalism has decided, you know what? Nah, here, money, do it for me, not for them. Let's keep going. And the one mistake you make as a politician, you take money once, it's gone forever. How Africans are introduced to... Oh, okay. There's a part of that video where an African leader is being introduced into... It looks like the UK or so. Red carpet, big SUV, the army or generals on the sides, you get a proper greeting. And job security is something that's going to exist even less than what it exists today. So those guys are softening those leaders up as they're being introduced that way. And as they're being softened up, they are being disarmed. And when they get into the room, they are laid down with tea and whatever they want. And whatever these people say to them in a very cordial manner, in a very nice, soft, subtle manner, the way you touch a girl or the way you touch a guy type of situation. They talk to you that way, right? So that whatever you hear, you agree to. And something that they know you won't agree to, they allow you not to agree to it. So that you can agree to something else that they want, right? So, yeah, it's very important to point that out, to figure out how not to be swayed very easily. As black people, it's very easy to get swayed. We're still slaves working for a colonial system. I think, Buse, you said that just now, that the system is not ours. What is this? Capitalism, firstly. Secondly, African democracy. Not even African, democracy. That's not our system. We're slaves to that system. We're working for that system. And there isn't a way to free yourselves of that system when you are already so deep into that system. Debt, guys. Debt is like chains. Chains. You know? That's kind of how we are kept at bay with time. Time is one of the most important commodities. If they can keep you at bay for 5 years buying that car and keep you quiet for 5 years, how much can they loot for you in 5 years? How much of your gold can they take from you in 5 years? Now think about it in a countrywide perspective, where a country borrows 500 billion rand. How long is it going to take us to pay off that debt? 20, 30, 60 years? Now we have to keep quiet for 60 years. 60 years. How much of our gold is going to be taken in that time? How much of our land is going to maintain a system that doesn't... Yeah, I think I've spoken to all the points that I've basically taken today. So, I think that's what I really want us to look at, right? How can we take, perhaps, let's take it from Ubuntu. Take Ubuntu and structure it in such a way that it makes sense socially. Structure it in such a way that it makes sense politically. How can we structure it in such a way that economically Ubuntu makes sense, right? To industry, to healthcare. You know, how can we structure that, right? I think I'm gonna have a think about that, and I must do a part 2 of this video because we've come to this realization. And I'd really love your comments. I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say. Victor, Nabuse, Chief, and the poor paddies. I know you guys are probably in there somewhere. So cool. Then there's one other thing that I want to speak to you guys about. I know I've kind of been slow on the My Day Mondays, but it doesn't mean that the messages that I have to say are any less important. My cousin came to me today while we were chatting over WhatsApp, and he says to me, "What am I doing?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm working. I'm trying to get some stuff out for a client." And he's like, "No, dog, when are we going to play some games? When are you going to be online?" I'm like, "Hey, man, have you looked at the presentation I sent you and I asked you to complete?" And he says, "Nah, I'm busy investigating stuff like we spoke." I don't remember saying anything about investigating anything, excuse me. The last investigation we were supposed to have, we did that. We did that on Google and we got everything that we needed. All you need to do is take what we already have, expand it, and write it down, right? Make sure that it's presentable so that we can present it. This guy is asking me about games. And then he says after that, like, "Dude, you're working on Freedom Day. It's a holiday during lockdown in COVID-19. You're working, you're still making that money." I'm like, dude, in a bad situation, that is the moment of opportunity. That is where you can find gaps. Where everybody is crying, you get to pick your head up and say, "Why is that person? Oh, okay, that's why they're crying." Help them. And by helping them, you gain skill, you gain repertoire, and you put yourself in a position of gaining money in the future. Doesn't mean you're going to gain it now, but you put yourself in that situation. And as you gain that repertoire, that skill, that respect from the people, and they decide to give you your money or their money, that's where you start to build that business. That's where you start to build momentum. Greatness is not achieved in great times. It's achieved in worse times, in bad times. Once you stay great within those bad times and you keep your calm and you keep focused on the goal and you keep pushing, even when everybody is crying, and you come out of it still staying, still level-headed, and you're still going, that's when you start to become great. That's when people start to say, "God damn it, that mother over there, Baba, that guy over there, he fucks hard. He does the right thing all the time. It's good, he does the right thing. It's bad, he does the right thing. It's mild and tasteless, he does the right thing." You know? So, in the situation, look at the skills that you have. Nobuhle, you've been doing cybersecurity. Look at the skills that you have and figure out and ask yourself, with the skill that I have right now, where are the gaps that I can fill? Don't go looking for a job. If you're looking for a job, fine. Go and figure out how you can help a person in the situation that they're in now with the skill that you have. Once you help that person, you have learned a lot. Chifiwa and the work that I've been doing with Chifiwa and Mango, a lot of the stuff that they've tasked me with, I didn't know none of it. I was like, and as I was doing it, I was learning. And as I keep doing it and I repeat it and I repeat it, I become better at it. I become better at it. And as I become better at it, I'm able to serve multiple people at the same time with the same thing. Easier. It doesn't take me 200 hours to do a simple thing like that anymore. You know? I think the first time I quoted Chief and the guys, I think I quoted them 5 hours. It took me 9 hours. 9 hours to get that task out. Whereas I said 5. I was so pissed. But I can't be pissed at them because I'm the one that gave them the quote. You know what I'm saying? So as I continued, it takes me much quicker to do that. You know? But this moment right now, where it's all bad, this is the moment you rise. This is the moment you become the champion. This is the moment you become a leader. In a situation like this, if you can show your true self in the moments of worst across the globe, in your worst moments in your life, and you can show your true character in your best moments as well, and those two align, I respect you right there and there, and a lot of people will earn your respect that way. I'm having some complications back in my office, back at work, and I'm looking at true colors. You can hear somebody when they're being ingenuous with you, when they're just not being themselves. You can feel it. That no man, no. And as soon as they get caught out for their disingenuous nature, they get pissed. They get pissed and they throw their toys out the cart. Now you there like how? And now? You know what I'm trying to say? So, if you're trying to be great, I see you there. I see you there, Vic. If you're trying to be great at what you do and you're trying to grab a hold of that fire within you, this is the moment to do it. This is the moment you can look at that fire in the eye and say, hey man, if you don't kill me as the fire, COVID-19 will kill me. I'd rather be killed by you than that stupid flu. Let's go. Take this fire by the hand, pick it up, and keep going forward. Believe in yourself. You can feel it. You can feel that, like me right now. I'm not controlling myself. The fire is the one that just keeps going. Like, I'm barely thinking right now. I'm just like, you know? Get to that state where you trust yourself to that degree, where you trust your opinion to that degree, where you trust, what do they call that thing? Your instinct to that degree, where you will be able to follow it without stress. A Lionel Messi, a Cristiano Ronaldo, those guys don't think when they play. He's just going in, dude. The fire is the one that's controlling him. When he goes in, that guy was not calculating where this guy's gonna come in. Nah, the fire is the one that's just letting him go. The passion that's driving him. You know, those are my words. It's already an hour. My God. Yeah, man. Like, so I will have a part 2 of this. Definitely, I have to have a part 2 of this, where I give you guys my thoughts about how we can make it appealing, how we can make Ubuntu make sense to those four. I think we said it was economic, it was social, it was industry, it was, I don't know, I'll figure out the other one, right? And in the industry, obviously, we have agriculture, medicine, we have technology, engineering, and so on. So yeah, those are my words. I'm done. I'm done, guys. Do you guys have anything to say? I can see you guys cracking up there. Victor, Chifiwa, Nobutle, I really appreciate you guys engaging with me tonight, rather. I really enjoyed my time tonight, and I didn't even put music on in the background. You see, the fire is just, you know. But yeah, if you guys have anything to say to me, just let me know. You guys can catch me on Instagram, Edward Muto. You guys can catch me on Facebook, Edward Muto. You guys can catch me, where else? Twitter, Edward Muto. Yeah. Leave some comments. Text me. You guys all got my numbers, I think. Let me know if you guys are feeling really down. Let me know. Last night I was feeling terrible. The whole day actually, I didn't do much. And I had a chat with my partner, and I was letting her know that, hey, dude, I'm just not feeling good. This, that. And she was like to me, what's happening? And I said, I have a lot on my mind, and I know I need to offload. And it's not about what has happened. It's about what's about to happen. That's keeping me down. So, and then I also said, and I reminded myself of this, stress is when someone tries to control something they don't have any control over. So, don't stress about something you can't control. Always look into the things that you can control personally and use those things to your benefit. Then, don't just think about what happened. If it would be great if, like today, I didn't speak about the history of Freedom Day. I'm not looking back. I'm looking at how we can redefine Freedom Day tomorrow for ourselves, for our kids, and the future generations. So, offload about things that you are thinking about that's about to happen as well. Talk to them. Write them down, right? The sooner you can get them off your mind, the sooner you allow your mind to be a bit clearer to think about how to action these things more than to memorize these things. Offload. Keep strong. Have faith. If you pray, keep praying. I love you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining me. It's a My Day Monday. You know what it is. We're back at it again.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey everybody, it's a My Day Monday.
It's a My Day Monday.
My Day Monday. It's a My Day Monday. You know what it is. We're back at it again.
Hey everyone, I'm Sipati Klopopedi and I'm the founder of Forte Creations. And Forte Creations is basically an Instagram cooking page where I recreate your everyday, simple, traditional meals into something that, everyone would basically want to feast on. I've always believed that, when you cook, you put love into your food. So cooking is a manifestation of love put into food. So I always jokingly say that my Instagram cooking page is my love story. So everyone is witnessing my love story. And I'd like you to also join me on this love journey of mine on Instagram at forte.creations. Do leave a comment, a like, follow at forte.creations, and yeah, man, let's just get on this love journey.
Take back what the come on, yeah. Too many foes. Keeping my back to the wall. Putting my back to the ball. Too many foes. Keeping my back to the wall. I'ma show back to them all. Keeping my peace, cut them off, yes, no.